There he is.
He's there. See on? Seven.
Well, I can see you on my end, Ronnie, but I don't see. There we are.
Hey, there we
Hey,
go.
hey. I was beginning to think, we're going to have to exorcise demons off of here.
Well, if you
Speaking of
do,
that,
please do. The demons upstairs, they're apparently putting in carpeting since 7 a.m. It's now 7 p.m. and they're still banging to be crazy. So I apologize for any loud banging noises on my end.
well, I said exorcising a demon, and I really didn't plan on doing this, but let's just say I was provided with a picture of Hillary Rodham Clinton, picture of her looking as if she is the devil.
Every
So,
picture?
well, no, this one is, it's really, 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 well, let me see. Let me see. I was going to, I even didn't steal a joke. I even made up a joke that goes with it. Uh, are they hammering right then?
Yeah, they're right above me. Of course, when I was trying to take a nap earlier, they were right above my bed, and now they've moved to right above my desk, So I apologize.
Well, I am. Well, say good evening and a few shout outs, and while I get this picture where I can.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Red, White, and True. I do have something that I wanted to show everybody. I did find this on the TikTok shop, but I fell in love with it, and I had to get me one. It's a Christmas ornament. Of course, it came, late, but it shows every state in the country and which way they voted for. It's got special meaning to Ed and I because this was the election night coverage. This is one of the last things I saw before we went to bed the night we created Red, White, and True. So, pretty cool little ornament that'll be on my tree next year. Until then, I think I'm going to hang it up here at my desk.
Yeah, that's a good place for it, right there.
I know my camera's not the best, but I did just switch out from my glasses for the first time in about 2 weeks to my contacts. Apparently, there's fiberglass in my contacts or something because my eyes are on fire right now. But I'm alive. We're here. It's going to be a good day.
So there is tons going on, and then there was the Trump press conference.
Yes.
Like there was nothing to talk about before, and he basically just cut loose today. And well, you seen the picture he put out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's nice when we have the 45th president and the 47th president of the United States that is plugging our show.
I think it's just amazing, in all honesty. I really do. I did save it. It is now the background of my phone.
And, I kind of wanted to put a disclaimer in there with it, but I thought if I need a disclaimer, then people really need to get a life. So no disclaimer was added. No disclaimer added. And let me see now. I think I can add.
Oh, Lord, that picture. Yikes. That's nightmare fuel right there.
There we go. Now, here is the joke that I came up with. What is the difference between Hillary Clinton and Satan? and it's actually a serious response. Hillary Clinton can still be saved.
I was going to say, since Satan was at some point an angel in heaven that was closer to heaven than she'll ever get. But you're right. Well, she can be saved at some point.
Your mom said, I'm not sure. But she's still breathing. And if I'm going to be fair, I should be fair.
There you go.
And I'm wondering if our friends over on X, which we've got a few going on, thought that was funny, because most of the people that follow me on X are extremely conservative. I mean, most of the people that follow me everywhere are extremely conservative, but I've been on X, Twitter, I don't know, since like 2008. And
thank you.
Yeah, when I first got on, it was during the Tea Party era. And so most of the people were Tea Party supporters.
Wow. You're really old if you were around during the Tea Party.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, your mom got it.
Oh, Ashley just asked me, she goes, wait a minute, the Boston Tea Party?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, that's...
Yeah, she says, oh, your mom got it, never mind.
Yeah.
How do they got its name?
Yeah. Where do you think the name come from?
Tea Party.
So, well, there we got the picture. Yeah, I debated on the picture or not, and since it came up so soon, then yeah. And with all of the things to cover tonight, we probably ought to get started, because I had a whole long list, and then I got a list that just pertains to the press conference today. And so I want to talk for a second about Hillary Clinton and her getting an award, along with many other people, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And what a disgusting thing for Joe Biden to do. I have said ever since Benghazi happened that I would never let go of Benghazi until someone was accountable for Benghazi. And we still don't have anyone that is accountable. Hillary Clinton, George Soros, Denzel Washington. I'm a Denzel Washington fan, but here's the list of the Medal of Freedom recipients. Jose Andres is a Spanish-American chef, and his charity has become one of the world's most recognized food relief organizations. Bono, the frontman for U2. Ashton Baldwin Carter, who passed away. He was the 25th Secretary of Defense. Hillary Clinton. Let's see what they said about her. Hillary Rodham Clinton has a long career in public service, including being the First Lady elected to the U.S. Senate, serving as Secretary of State, and becoming the first woman nominated for president by a major United States political party. They kind of left out Secretary of State when we abandoned 4 of our own in Benghazi.
Of course they did.
Continuing on, Michael J. Fox, I think most people know him. Tim Gill, an entrepreneur and a LGBTQ plus activist. Jane Goodall, a conservationist. Fannie Lou Hamer, posthumously. She founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and laid the groundwork for the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Irwin Magic Johnson, Robert Francis Kennedy, posthumously. Obviously, it's interesting that they would give that to him at this point, seeing as how his son is going to be in the Trump administration. I think it's kind of a thumb in the eye saying, real Kennedys we support.
Yeah. The ones that like our stuff.
Yeah. Ralph Lauren, Lionel Messi, William Nye, the science guy, Bill Nye. If you want to watch something fun, watch his debate with Ken Ham of Answers in Genesis, and Ken Ham massacres him in the debate. George Romney, posthumously, David Rubenstein, the co-founder of the Carlyle Investment Group. George Soros, do we even have to mention his name? Probably one of the least American citizens in the history of mankind. And he actually isn't from the United States. His family is, yeah. We'll go on. George Stevens Jr. Founded the American Film Institute. Denzel Washington, we know him most recently known as Denzel Washington, the baptized believer of Jesus Christ, and a licensed minister working on his ordination as a pastor, and the renowned fashion icon Anna Wintour. It's one of those where I want to say, Ronnie.
What a ridiculous list.
Oh my goodness. You just.
I was reading through it on the whitehouse.com as you're reading them off. And I mean, writer, musician, actor, fake, entrepreneur, Jane Goodall. Okay, I can see that. The Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Who cares? Magic Johnson. I mean, he played basketball. Let's give him an award. Ralph Lauren. He designs expensive crap. Cool. Let's give him the Presidential Freedom Medal. I don't know. To me, it's just, I don't know.
Well,
it's a joke. It's a joke.
Right. A lot of things that are happening in the country right now that are coming from the White House.
Uh-oh. I don't know. It popped up on my end, says his device is not connected. So I guess you get to look at my ugly mug. Anyways, let's go back to this list real quick while he comes back. Ralph Lauren, what has he done that really I don't know. What has he done that deserves that award? Lionel Messi, most decorated player in history of professional soccer. His foundation serves as UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. Okay, that's cool. Bill Nye, I don't know. I used to watch Bill Nye as a kid, but to me, he's so uber liberal anymore. I can't. I don't know. George Romney is a businessman. He later served as the 43rd governor of Michigan and the 3rd Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. That's cool. I mean, all right. I'm sure he's a Democrat. I don't know too much about him. David Rubenstein, Carlyle Group. George Soros. George Soros is the biggest kick in the pants, if you ask me. George Soros and Hillary Rodham Clinton are the two biggest kick in the pants at the entire list. You want to give it to some LGBTQ, LMNOP, whatever person, fine, okay. But George Soros, what has he done to help the common man? Hillary Clinton, what has she done? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he helped with the riots in Minnesota and everything. Hey, it looks like he's back.
He's funded so many liberal prosecutors, including Bragg in New York and so many of them that he has done harm to the common man, not helped. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right there. Like Mary just said, should be for people to really do something like help feed the poor, etc. Couldn't agree more. Just because your name is Hillary Rodham Clinton, or because you played basketball, I don't know. I can go on all night.
and yeah. We really we should go on all night. America has a proud heritage, and we should have a proud heritage, but you can't be proud of some of the names that are on that list, and specifically the two that you mentioned. They are known socialists. They want things that are not good for you or for me, and it's just a joke. I mean, it's a joke like pardoning his son. It's a joke like releasing, what was it, 11 from Gitmo into another country. They never actually did go on trial.
Pardoning how many executions?
Yeah, it's just one thing after the other. Doing the making the oil permits not usable. I know presidents many times do things that at the end to just kind of tick off the other side. But
I just got some breaking news that this is off subject, but a rocket launcher and 2 RPGs seized at the Arizona-Mexico border.
Well, speaking of things that are being done at the last second, they had to get a court order to get the Biden administration to stop selling parts of the wall that have already been purchased Trump said, at 5 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
How in the world does that work? Especially when they know that they're going to start using them again in is it the 19th? That's
13 days.
13 days. They're going to start using it again. So how can they say that they love the country and that still be the case?
It's sabotage.
Yeah, your mom just said it's called sabotage, and that's
Absolutely
what it is. That is what it is. And why would you just accept defeat? Okay, Kamala didn't win. The Democrats have no power. They lost the House. They lost the Senate. They lost the White House. You're just going to have to suck it up for a little while. Bill and Tanya, the Democrats and the liberals are so mentally sick and twisted that they think they are always right. And, I get that that's the way they are. They do think they're always right. We've known that for years and years. But why sabotage of all things? It's going to cost the country money in many different ways. I seen where Biden had said that he was considering a ban on smoking, a nationwide ban on smoking. And I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I wish they didn't exist. But how can you ban one thing that's bad for people, but not ban everything that's bad for people?
Yeah, legalize marijuana.
Yeah, we're legalizing marijuana all over the place, including Florida, where we are tonight. And
wasn't originally he was going to ban menthol cigarettes, and isn't a menthol cigarette what African Americans smoke?
Yes.
He got so much backlash over that.
Yes, and yes. answer your two questions. Yes and yes.
Wow.
So like I say, some things that you don't personally agree with, you just have to say that that's not the way our country works. We don't ban things. I mean, obviously we do ban some things, but is the next thing we're going to ban fast food because that's not good for us, or any
Bars.
long number of things that could be. And well,
Wouldn't surprise me.
I've got a young lady that I get her TikToks from. She is known as that opinionated girl, and she went nuts on Biden giving Soros and Clinton that Medal of Freedom. I want to play that. It's a couple of minutes, but it's a good couple of minutes. Such a young person that is so right on the her thoughts here.
In the faces of the American people by giving somebody as evil as Hillary Clinton the Medal of Freedom. How dare you? Your presidential slogan at this point should be promises made, promises broken, because you have broken every single promise that you have made to the American people, including just giving a baseline level of care to them. I sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that each and every single soul that was lost in Benghazi haunts you and her for as long as you both may live, because that is just wicked. She left our men to die and you reward her for that? Are you kidding me? For those of you who are unfamiliar with what the Medal of Freedom is, it's essentially the highest honor that a civilian could get. So what did Hillary do to achieve such an honor? Well, shit, beats me, because what did she do? She left our men to die, right? Totally ignored their calls for help. She cost our people their lives as they gave everything for this country, something she could never understand. She lied to the FBI. She deleted classified emails. Who knows what were in those emails? I guess we never will. Even the FBI admitted that she basically committed a crime, but she's on the left, so God forbid she ever gets prosecuted for that. I mean, it's an absolute mockery of what our country is supposed to be. If you look at the list of people that he gave this medal, it's people like George Soros, who quite literally funded the prosecutor who went after Trump. So round of applause, congratulations, you get a medal for helping the left to go after their enemies through corruption, through bribery, through all of these terrible things. That deserves a medal. You got Bill Nye, who's done absolutely nothing to contribute to society. He's just a quack at this point, but let's give him a medal. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting at this point. Anyone who takes the left seriously really needs to reevaluate themselves, because there's no way that you could do something like this and then still sit there and try to convince me that you actually care about our country, about our servicemen and women. There's just no way.
So that gets the big wow
Mic drop.
award. Yeah. Mary Bailey said gas furnaces and water heaters on things that Joe Biden still wants to outlaw and ban, in addition to other things that he has done on a regular basis.
Just a quick highlight. We're looking at another 5.5 inches Friday morning into Friday night.
Well, I was going
Stop cussing, Ronnie.
I was trying to be nice. And, while you guys were getting a mini blizzard, your mom and I were swimming with dolphins yesterday. And
That's what you get for cussing.
Yeah.
and we were
Not all of us can swim with tuna sandwiches.
Hey, now watch it.
we were hoping, we were talking about this yesterday, hoping that snow would be melted off by the time we get home. And then we hear the day before we get home, there's supposed to be another 5 or 6 inches of snow. Yeah, that's not what we wanted to hear.
Yeah, you'll be driving through it. And it looks like Chattanooga, 7.1 inches, Lexington, 8.5, Arkansas, 8.3.
Yeah, we ain't headed that way.
Well, I'm just saying there's a huge band all the way down into Georgia.
Yeah. Well, we will be part of the way back. We're actually going to be making 2 stops. We're going to visit my aunt in Alabama on Thursday after we check out here. And then we will be visiting my son in Atlanta on Saturday morning. So we're going to just zigzag across the whole South for a day or two. And then we'll be home Saturday night, just in time to apparently shovel the walks. So let's look at the press conference. Well, no, your topic of the night is actually part of the press conference, but I kind of want you to cover that separately. So we'll go ahead and do that. I think people are trying to debate on whether Trump is serious about the 51st state thing, but what your topic does, it shows, and I'm not saying this because I'm a supporter, it shows how much power Donald Trump really has around the world, because this is an amazing topic in my estimation. Go ahead.
And we also might be looking into the 52nd state. Greenland is another possibility. So I'd like to kind of get everybody's thoughts and feelings on this man, but Justin Trudeau of Canada. Monday, he resigned. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced Monday that he intends to resign from his post, but will stay until a new leader of the country's Liberal Party is in place, effectively ending 9 years of power. Trudeau's departure comes amid mounting pressure for him to step aside before an upcoming election that his Liberal Party is forced to lose badly. Forecasted to lose badly. The leader also has a complicated, adversarial relationship with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, who is set to be sworn in later this month. Every morning I've woken up as Prime Minister. I've been inspired by the resilience, generosity, and the determination of Canadians, Trudeau said in a news conference. It is the driving force of every single day I have the privilege of serving in this office. The Canadian leader's move also comes before an emergency meeting of Liberal legislators. It was planned for Wednesday. Trudeau said that in a news conference that Parliament would be suspended until March 24th. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that I am having to fight internal battles. I cannot be the best option that in this election, he said. So, Justin Trudeau, come on, what's wrong with my computer here, boys? Completely locked up. Can you guys still see me and hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there I am. So, what is everybody else's thoughts on this man? I've seen, and I'm going to try and pull it up here while we go over this. But Justin Trudeau in blackface several times.
Well, my opinion is that
obviously racist.
He is a very liberal leader, has shown that over and over. As a matter of fact, with the joke of them being the 51st state, many conservative analysts have said we don't want them to be the 51st state because they would have as many votes as California, meaning that they would also gain 2 Senate seats and massive amounts of House of Representatives seats, which would, unless something changed drastically, would mean a bunch of liberal House seats as well. I mean,
yeah.
and Trump knows that. He knows that. He's
Yeah.
not going to do something that is going to hurt us politically. But, there are a lot of good reasons for that to take place, for them to become the 51st state. And I guess I'm maybe getting a little bit ahead of myself because it's two separate topics, Trudeau resigning and Canada becoming the 51st state. Two different subjects. You got that up there?
Yeah, this is an actual picture of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't get you a lot of votes in America.
No.
Usually
It shouldn't
that
get
is
you a lot of votes anywhere, in all honesty.
that's the very much the truth. I know that it looks like the Conservatives will probably take power in Canada, but that's not a guarantee. What happens, I believe, I haven't looked at it totally, but he is resigning as leader of the Liberal Party, and the Liberal Party is what has him in as prime minister. So I don't know that the Conservatives are guaranteed to take power. Go ahead, Ronnie.
It's a minute and 15 seconds, but it kind of talks about him a little bit.
Shame on you and your globalist counterparts. You're scumbags. You're scumbag. You're an absolute scumbag.
So Trudeau, you are a disgrace for any democracy. Please spare us your presence. Thank you.
Well, he's two-faced.
Well, they're both Marxists.
Hey there, how you doing?
Shaking your hand, boy. You're a piece of
Why is that, sir?
While you've been here soaking up the race. Making fun of Muslims all year. You're afraid.
Yeah, he's gross. He's a sketchy guy.
Yeah.
And
To all the people in that party, you are going to become third-party status in this election if this stuff keeps going on.
Has Justin Trudeau just crossed the line from normal liberal corruption to cartoon supervillainy?
Look at Justin Trudeau. He's absurd.
Catastrophically, moronically stupid.
It's riddled by stupidity because of stupid leaders.
Oh, Justin, just stop, man, person, whatever you want to call yourself. If you want to be the most ultra woke leader in the world, that's fine.
Wow.
Well, doesn't look like he is the most popular person, even
He's
though
definitely not winning any popularity contests.
even though I'm sure that we could take a gazillion shots of people bashing Trump or a gazillion shots of people trashing Biden and come up with a video like that as well. But those were some pretty respected people that, it wasn't just on the streets, with throwing the microphone in front of somebody's face. It was leaders and journalists, respected people in the community. What else you got for Trudeau? Or are we ready to move on?
That's basically it. I did a little bit of thinking about it when he did resign, and you're right. I think we're just going to add another California to our ranks, and that's. I mean, it would be great to have another territory. It'd be great to welcome, a bunch of more Americans to the family, to the fold. But I don't want to deal with another Canada. I'm sorry, another California. I don't know. I would think that the Conservatives would have to show up a lot more for me to be supportive of it, but we'll see. So we'll see.
But it would help with, we wouldn't have a border situation there on that end. Of course, I think we underestimate how much comes across the northern border because of all the attention that the southern border justifiably receives. It would be a almost like a coup militarily to have control of all of that real estate. Same thing with Greenland. And I actually think that one is more realistic of possibly happening. Trump Jr. was up there in the last few days, and it was funny that the reception committee for Trump Jr. all had on MAGA hats, red and white MAGA hats, and so we can't be distracted by those things, but I like the fact that Trump looks outside the box on things. I mean, in our lifetime, nobody has, I don't know that I've ever heard of somebody saying that Canada should be the 51st state.
Never heard
Now,
of it.
I do know that back earlier in the 19th century, which sounds so long, or in the 20th century, not the 19th, which really does sound a long time ago. A president, and it may have been Roosevelt, that made an offer to buy Greenland from Norway, I think, is who actually has the ownership of Greenland right now. They offered him, I don't know, something like $100 million, which somebody I heard today say that'd be like $1 billion today. And Norway turned it down. And I hope I'm not wrong on the Norway thing. I don't think I am.
I don't remember. I saw it. It's Norway or Sweden or Switzerland.
Yeah,
I don't remember yet.
Karen Ruth, it's Denmark. It's Denmark.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen, and welcome to Red, White, and True. She is the wife of a proud Coast Guard veteran.
All right.
Coasties. I met her husband, never in person, but he was part of my days back at GOP.com when I first started blogging and when I first started podcasting. He was from that group of friends that have stayed friends since back then, and an excellent, excellent, excellent group of conservatives that actually some of them have passed on since then. But glad that she is in here. And we've had her on prayer requests a couple of times on Prayer and Share. And let's look now at some bullet points from the press. Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida, President Donald Trump held a press conference at his estate today addressing a range of topics from domestic policy to international relations. And here is some of the bullet points. Started off at the very beginning with an economic investment, a company that is into technology with AI and cloud work and things like that, announced that they were going to invest $20 billion into the United States. And it's going to be over like 6 or 7 different states, and Indiana is actually one of them that will. I didn't see if they said where in those states, but $20 billion investment. And he also mentioned with that he is going to push that we fast track companies that want to invest $1 billion or more because of regulations and things like that. Things sometimes take 10 to 15 years to get through all of our regulations and all of our climate issues and things like that. So common sense things, don't you think, Ronnie?
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous amount of regulations and everything. I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but a friend of mine knew a guy that lived in Canada, and he was a professional hockey player, actually made decent amounts of money, and he was trying to become a naturalized American citizen, and he couldn't afford it. It was so much. It was ridiculous. It took so long. I watched a video the other day about somebody trying to become she was a Russian woman trying to become an American citizen, had married an American man, and it was a year's process. But you know, the whole thing about companies and all of that, year-long processes. That's why I'm really hoping this Department of Government Efficiency really helps out too.
Yeah. You know, why would you want to invest in America if it's going to take you 15 years? I mean, that technology in 15 years will be obsolete by far, probably by that time. So
Absolutely.
if we have them here,
absolutely,
and you know that they're going to be doing research and development for new technology, why would we not do stuff like that? And so I'm glad that the common sense approach, and to me, that's what Trump brings. Whether you like him or hate him, or whether you don't like his past, don't like, you know, whether you don't like whatever it is that you don't like about him, he has common sense approach, and he really does put America first, which goes along with the next bullet point I've got here: renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
And I believe that sometimes people pass things off as he's joking, but I believe this. He wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And, you know, we just said America first, and I believe that that's what's in his blood.
Yeah.
Is America first. And somebody please tell me what is wrong with that, if there is something wrong with that. I mean, we're in America.
We're in America. I mean, you're right.
And so some people will say, well, that's not very Christian. Well, how much did God talk about Israel first? And that's not saying that God was wrong by any stretch of the imagination. It's saying that God's focus was on Israel. Jesus was a Jew from Israel. So why would you not focus on Israel first if you're in that situation? But if you're in that situation, why would you not think that you wouldn't expand that to where you are? And Karen Ruth just made an amazing point. I'm going to throw up there. If liberals can rename the Redskins, Cleveland Indians, etc., we can rename the Gulf of Mexico.
Absolutely.
So that is spot on right there. I mean, that is excellent point. But obviously, the rest of the world would like to be America. I mean, if they didn't, why would we have 10 or 12 million illegals in the country? Why would Canada be excited about becoming the 51st state? Why would Greenland be welcoming people there with MAGA hats on? It's a no-brainer.
But America is the only country where people can absolutely hate it, but never leave.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people have complained and how much they've hate America and how ridiculous it is, but they don't leave. They're still here.
You got to see that my green screen just fell on my head.
I saw that.
I was not turning into a towel head. That was a green screen. And so hopefully I don't become a digital figure.
Nope, you look good. It's all right.
If it gets messed up, I'll put you on and stand up and fix it. But if not, nah, not now. It looks okay. Let's see. After the Gulf of Mexico, what else is on this list? Strategic interest. Greenland was brought up, and one of the sticking points that Trump seems to have is the Panama Canal.
Yes.
I never did understand that personally. And I remember when we gave the Panama Canal back to Panama, Jimmy Carter was president, and I hate to say something negative about a person who is laying in state at our United States Capitol as we speak, but Jimmy wasn't known for making very good foreign policy decisions, in addition to some other decisions. And so he gave the Panama Canal away for $1. And yeah, and Trump wants it back. Now, I'm not quite sure how he is going to get it back. And I don't know if we will get it back. But strategically, it's not a point that we can lose. That's the only way we have right now, without going around the tip of South America, to get our naval fleet from the Atlantic to the Pacific, or vice versa. And so that one is in his sights as well. In the Middle East, the policy and the hostages. Trump warned of potential chaos if a hostage deal in the Middle East isn't resolved by January the 20th, saying if we don't get this done by the 20th, all hell will break loose. Ronnie, what do you think he means by that?
Well, he said that before. He had that big speech before and was saying all hell will be broken loose. I think he's tired of pussyfooting around with it. And since Joe Biden really hasn't done a whole lot, I think he's going to show up and start kicking ass and taking names, and he's going to take care of the job. So I don't think that means boots on the ground. I don't think that means all-out warfare quite yet, but I'm not going to take that off. I'm not taking it off the table as an option, and I don't think Donald Trump is either.
Well, I've seen a little bit. Trump talked for a long time in this conference, and then he opened it up for the press to ask questions. And one of the members of the press corps asked him about what he had planned to do with Iran or to Iran. And he says, I'm not going to stand here and tell you my foreign policy decisions, militarily. He said,
yeah.
He says, I'm not stupid. I don't know if that was a slam on Joe Biden or not, but, actually they were asking him about a preemptive strike on Iranian nuclear facilities is where they actually went with that. And, I don't know what he means by all hell breaking loose, because Israel has pretty much broken it loose on their own. But I know of all the heat that Netanyahu has taken, the most critical part of it is the hostages.
Yeah.
And, you got to totally understand the families of the hostages wanting their people home. I mean, that's just a given. And, I would probably think do whatever you got to get them home, if that includes ending the war before Hamas is taken out. I don't personally think that, but I can understand how a family member could feel that way. But I think in Trump's situation, he doesn't have to answer to the nation of Israel as individuals. And, I think Trump is okay with taking the heat for whatever has to happen. But
enough's enough. How long have they been held hostage now? I mean, the only time you see them anymore is when they throw a dead body out of the tunnel.
Well, I mean, 15 months.
Yeah.
15 months. And that, that is that's Jimmy Carter-esque with the hostages in Iran in 79 for 444 days. Actually, them numbers are coming pretty close with, I know that we're over 400 days in Israel with the hostages. So, Trump is using the Ronald Reagan method, except Trump is a lot more out in the open about it than I believe what Reagan was. But basically, Iran said in 1980, when Inauguration Day hit, we think he's going to do what he said he was going to do, and the prospects of Iran looking like a parking lot do not resonate with the Iranian people, and thus they were released. And so, like I say, Trump is much more open in front of the camera about that, but we'll just have to see. NATO and defense, so that's always been a big topic for Trump, thinking that NATO needs to pay quite a bit more for us protecting the NATO nations. Election integrity, he continues to talk about the need to fix our elections. Legislative priorities, I know that there is a huge bill that he wants to be passed. The leaders in Congress think it will work better if they do two separate bills, to where they can get immigration and something else in the first one, and probably immigration and the military in the first one, and then other things in the second one. He would prefer to have it all done at once, but is open to doing two separate bills if that, he's looking at it from the executive branch. He is smart enough to know that the legislative branch doesn't necessarily run things the way he would run, and so he has to look at things in that manner. Legal issues and justice. He criticized the Department of Justice, of course, for not sharing information. He highlighted the lack of transparency. Garland Merrick must really not be a very good attorney general, because Republicans keep standing, and they say that Biden, one of his biggest regrets has been naming him as the attorney general. So you must really be bad if the Republicans can't stand you, and Biden regrets naming you to the post.
Pretty much, yeah.
He talked about pardons from a different perspective. He said he would be looking into pardoning individuals involved in the January 6th Capitol riot, but suggesting a review of those cases. Now, let's talk about this for a second, because that's a big topic for a lot of people.
I've got a video on that too here in a minute.
I heard, I showed your mom yesterday a picture of a huge snowball fight in Washington, D.C. And it said something, and yesterday being January the 6th, 4 years later.
Yeah.
And they said something about, you know, that those weren't liberals in that snowball fight, or they would say that another insurrection had happened. But, you know, I think I'm on record saying that January 6, 2020, or 2021 actually, was an ugly day in American history. I was not proud of what happened that day. I wish it would have never happened. But as far as an insurrection, they weren't trying to take over anything. It was ugly, but it was so overblown. And the people that were involved, as in the people that, well, that have been targeted by the Justice Department, were in many cases treated like political prisoners in a third world country, being arrested and held without charges for a long time. It's an ugly part of history. And I think it's an ugly part of history for many, many different reasons. Not just that it happened, but the reaction, the January 6th committee, and all the hypocrisy that went with that. You know, destroying evidence and different things like that. And speaking of that, Liz Cheney and the Democrat leader of that committee both got not the medals that we talked about earlier, but there's a second level, and they were both given one of those medals for their work on the January 6th committee. So what do you got?
Well, I got a video here. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. I wish I could find, a couple years ago, they actually had a bunch of the prisoners that were locked up from January 6th and Donald Trump. What were they singing? God Bless America. And it's one of the most beautiful things you ever heard. But I'll pull this up here. It's just about a minute long.
To each other. First, you said on your first day of office, you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, look. Can everybody hear that okay? It's really quiet on my end.
Yeah, I can hear it, but it could stand to be a little louder.
Yeah, I got the volume turned all the way up. I don't know.
To each other. First, you said on your first day of office, you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please.
Well, I'm glad that he said that he will look at it on an individual basis. You know, I think there were some people that deserved some kind of punishment. I don't know what kind of punishment or how much punishment, but there were some people that deserved to be punished. But there was a ton of people that didn't deserve at least the amount of punishment they got. And certainly that Air Force veteran that was killed didn't deserve to lose her life.
No, absolutely not. And then nothing ever looked into it. Nothing ever happened about it. Nothing.
And there's been talk that Biden would pardon some of the hires up in that that could be looked at for neglect and dereliction of duty and things like that when it comes to the January 6th. You know, there's people that turned a blind eye. And you know, there's been talks from the beginning about pardoning at least Cheney and the other leader of the J6 committee. I mean, if what is said that they did actually happened, you know, if a congressional committee, if they intimidated witnesses, if they destroyed evidence, if they didn't keep records that they were supposed to keep, you know, Cheney is no longer, you know, she got voted out 2 years ago when.
Thank the Lord above.
Yes. I don't know about the Democrat that led the proceedings. I'd have to look that up. But, you know, Trump said a mouthful there when he said there are a lot of people that have done really bad things that didn't even get prosecuted, and a lot of people who were prosecuted that didn't even walk in the building.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
Let me look at another note that I have here. That's pretty much the extent of the press conference. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything. Yeah, I think that took care of that. But I had some other notes here that I may just let's see. Got a couple of short videos that wanted to share. See if this will work. Here is a look at Donald Trump Jr. with the people from Greenland with their MAGA hats on.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
It is really cool, isn't it? I got a couple other ones I wanted to share. A lot of the stuff I shared, we put in together with the Trump press conference. Already played that one. Medal of Freedom. I think I got everything that I was going to cover. One of the things that I've noticed in the news, and let me get rid of that. You know, it's that time of year where college football is at their bowl games, and now the playoffs that they do. The professional football is into their playoff season, and I have noticed the number of times that it has received attention of Christians that are praying on the field, Christians who are, there was one really good video, it was too long, or I didn't save it or something, where a player from one team it's after the game when they're all, you know, shaking hands and stuff, and one player puts his arm around the other, asks if he can pray for him. And I don't know the backstory, but they just knelt down and prayed right there on the field about a certain topic. Yeah, there's Bill saying, "Go Irish." They're in the Final Four, and won't hurt my feelings if they win it all. I seen a video earlier today that was talking about people who put so much emphasis on music in churches and putting emphasis on athletes and their relationship with God. And I somewhat agreed with some of the things he said, and we can do that on a prayer and share night to talk about that. But I believe that it's impressive when somebody has the kind of influence that a pro athlete would have, or even a college athlete, and they use it for the glory of God. The head coach at Boise State, apparently every one of the press conferences he does after games, or a certain press conference that he has each week, and he starts the very first thing off by thanking Jesus for being his Lord and Savior. And, you know, I know a lot of people can say that and then turn around and act a different way. But we know a lot of people in our daily lives that we see that say they're a Christian, or want people to believe they're a Christian, and don't act the way they ought to. So I personally like when they do that. You know, they're not out trying to get votes. Maybe they're out trying to sell, you know, merchandise or something like that, but they don't really get a whole lot of in return for doing that, which is exactly not the reason to do it, is that you get something in return. You shouldn't do that. But there's just been, and I had 2 or 3 clips of players that, and then I had one, and I'm trying to think of, it was Ohio State's game, and they had interviewed, I think, the quarterback for Ohio State, and he started off with, he wanted to thank Jesus Christ. And then when they got the whole team up on the podium and they were giving out a trophy, because it's a little bit confusing with the playoffs. They're still, the round that they just finished were at a bowl, like they were at the Rose Bowl. And so they would get a Rose Bowl trophy, even though they've not finished first yet. But security would not let this young man on the stage with the rest of the team because he had spoken out in favor of Jesus. Now, how in the world does that happen in America? Yeah. So, you know, I think that no matter how many times a pro athlete or a college athlete gives praise to Jesus, there's probably just as many people that are sick of hearing the Christian side. And that's just too bad. That it's too bad in a couple ways. It's a shame and it's too bad, but praise God that people are standing up for Jesus.
Well, it's an amazing thing too to have these players and coaches, whatever. They're not doing it, like you said, for any other reason than they want to. You know, they're not rallying for votes. They're not trying to sell you something. They're not trying to do anything. They're doing it because they want to. Yeah. And that's an amazing thing. And that's what everybody should do. They should do it because they want to, because they need to, because they truly mean it.
And no matter how much we do, we could never do enough for the glory of God. So is it too much to give him glory when we have an opportunity. And I would hope the answer to that would be no, it's not too much. You know, you and I, we've given God the glory for putting us together on this live stream event, Red, White, and True. And it means something to us.
Yeah.
And, you know, we would be on the wrong side of right if we didn't give God the credit for it. And any success that it has, or, you know, if we had to stop it after tonight, we could still give God the glory for the 3 months that, let's see, it was November, December. Yeah. 2.5 months.
Just the opportunity to do it. It's been amazing. And we can give God the glory for that.
And, you know, people that I know that, you know, like Karen Ruth hasn't been in any of our things for quite a while. And here she shows up and makes an amazing point and helps us with what we're trying to say. If liberals can rename the Redskins, Cleveland Indians, et cetera, we can rename the Gulf of Mexico. You know, that's an excellent point. And that's one of the things that I like about being able to do this together. There'll be a time where we can actually put, we could do like our own version of the 5. Because I think we can get, I forget how many people we can get on screen from different locations at one time. But I was thinking it was 8, and I'd have to check the number, but I know it's more than 5. So, I mean, we could do that. We could actually have a live interview. The two of us could interview somebody live on the air. And here's the deal. People are sick to death of the mainstream media. They just are. And a lot of people say, well, you're not getting real news from X or people that on whatever social media platform it is, but it's just as reliable as the mainstream media,
if not more reliable.
Yeah, that's the thing. If not more reliable. You know, I think you're less likely to get, I mean, let's just face it. If you're watching Fox News, they're going to slant it hard to the right. If you're watching PMSNBC or whichever initials that you want to put in there, they're going to be slanted hard to the left. Individuals are that way too, but we don't have stockholders and people like that tell us if, like with the January 6th issue, you and I may disagree with that on that just a little bit, but we don't have anybody telling us if I say that there was some people that were out of line, nobody's saying, wait a minute, we're stockholders, let's not give that opinion.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not stupid. We know that most of the people that we talk to, we're preaching to the choir. But I know that we've brought up topics in the last 2 months plus that some people didn't know about. And we've either helped inform or we've given opinions or something that helped somebody else out with what's going on in the world today.
And I can't be more grateful for the opportunity to do that, because what if somebody didn't know something and we just so happen to mention it or share something, and that's a great thing.
Well,
great thing.
Well, you think about the Las Vegas issue, and we didn't even get into any of that tonight, which is okay. We did Saturday. By the way, if someone didn't get to see the Saturday prayer and share, Ronnie was with his mother and I Saturday night, and you can go back and take a look at that. That was history that night. Ronnie and his mama on a live stream together. And I thought that was pretty cool.
We weren't fighting, so that's a good thing.
Well, you know, not too much.
Not too much.
You like tonight, you come across with the swimming with tuna. And I'm sure if there was any,
It wasn't Charlie too.
sure if there was any Pioneer Woman things brought up, you kind of threw up in your mouth or gagged or.
Well, yeah, but you're not anywhere near any Pioneer Woman, so I had to find something to complain about. So when I saw the dolphin, I'm like, well, there's my opportunity.
You haven't had your Christmas yet. You don't know what you got.
Now, let me just say this, and this is for everyone, not just us harassing each other back and forth. Your mom was in a piece of heaven yesterday when we swam with the dolphins. She was the happiest that I have seen her, maybe ever. And at least for a long, long, long time. She was so excited that we were going to do it. She was excited the second we seen dolphins at a distance. And then when we got in that water, and we actually had the pictures didn't even really do justice to everything that we got to do. And we actually, they had us hold the dolphin by its dorsal fin and then one of its side fins. And that was the actual swimming part. The dolphin pulled us for 20 or 30 feet through the water. We were hanging on to while the dolphin swam. And so that was all pretty cool. And I was excited about watching your mom as I was excited about swimming with the dolphins. She is a good person and she deserves good things in life. And Ronnie just fell asleep.
He loves his mama.
I was debating on which path to take here. Say something.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled. He loves his mama. Don't you?
Huh?
I said, you love your mama.
Don't you?
I love who? Batman? Yeah, I sure love. Yeah, I love Batman. He's awesome.
Child.
What?
Well, we probably should say that there are several things to be praying for, praying about, some things that came out in the last day or two that can use our prayers, and that God knows the ones that we have listed and the ones we haven't, and the ones that need attention and the ones we've forgotten. So we're going to finish with prayer and we're going to get out of here. Unless you got something else, Ronnie.
Nope, I'm good.
Father in heaven, we come to you just now, thanking you for being an awesome and mighty God. We thank you for our country. We thank you for just what you have done in our individual lives. We look at things that have gone on collectively, and we just ask you, Father, to help us to always be the best that we can be. Help us, Father, to be excited and speak out for you and your son Jesus every time we get an opportunity. It won't be kneeling on a football field in front of millions of people, but we know our job is to just reach people one person at a time. And so, Father, I pray that you would help us to do that. For those that are ill and need healing, I ask you to do that. Those who have sicknesses and disease, I ask you to take care of that. Those that need miracles, Father, you're still in the miracle business, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm proud to be able to say that I know miracles that have taken place, and not proud from my standpoint, but proud that I'm a follower of a God who does miracles. So, Father, I pray that you would keep people safe as they are in the snow or other bad weather. Pray for safety for our trip home. And Father, I just ask that you would bless our country. Help us as we move forward in a manner that pleases you. And Father, I thank you for this live stream that we do, Red, White, and True, and all the other parts of my ministries. Just continue to bless and to help us to follow your lead. and doing all this in the holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Well, Tanya said she is an awesome and amazing lady.
Yeah, she's all right. I like her.
Yeah, there you go. Sucking up at the end.
Well, Tanya.
Well, we have prayed for my Aunt Pat for a long time, close to probably all 4 years plus we've been doing this. And Lord willing, we're going to get to visit her on Friday. She is actually in the midst of another bad round of chemo and other things that go along with that ugly C word. And so pray for her and pray that we're able to send some love to her and drop her off some Big Red. Because you can't get Big Red everywhere. And she loves Big Red. And
I just had some Big Red last night for the first time since I can't remember when.
well, we actually brought a 24 pack for me to drink while we were on the road, and we bought her a 36 pack from Sam's to drop off to her because she can't get Big Red in Alabama. So,
Good
well,
deal.
Until we see you again, I don't know if we will do prayer and share at all at the end of this week because it's going to coincide with driving home. So I'm going to guess that there won't be prayer and share this week, but we'll let you know later on. And until we see you again, how about this? Let me think of what I should say. Oh, yeah. Go out and do the right thing. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.